Weber.
Quorum being established, we are going to go into our public hearing. Okay. Representative Myers, we're going to start with you, House Bill 225. Proceed when you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the committee. My name is Representative Jeff Myers. I represent District 42, which is Warren and Montgomery County. Before you today, I'm presenting House Bill 225. You may recognize some of the language on here because it was already attached to House Bill 495 that was signed into law. But the reason why I ran this other portion is a standalone. There's another portion in there that deals with emergency motor vehicle language. So let me start off real quick telling you what this is not. This is not a authorization for law enforcement to run milly-nilly, just run people off the road, pursue people without their emergency equipment on. What it is something that law enforcement officers across our state do on a regular basis. Is, for example, if they're behind somebody and they're speeding, instead of turning their lights on, they wait until they can do that where they can curb somebody where it's safe. Telling you as somebody who spent 28 years chasing taillights that I would know the area of where we should stop better than some of the violators. So therefore, by being able to stop cars in an appropriate place without running my lights and siren to do so. So if a car's driving 80, we're in a 60-mile-an-hour zone, I'm following along, technically, that law enforcement officer is in violation of Missouri state statute. And so that part would be taken care of. The other part is responding to alarms in progress, standard techniques and procedures for law enforcement where you're taught coming out of the academy. If you're going to alarm in progress, you turn off your emergency equipment as you get close, so that way you're not alerting anybody who's there. Or there's times when we also have felony suspects that we are trailing or under surveillance. Say, for example, if there's been a kidnapping and somebody is driving from point A to point B, has been identified as a suspect, you don't want to alert them to your presence. And so that's the nexus of this. It's been passed in 34 other states. And the last thing I'll add is when this came to me, this came from a guy who actually works the road. This wasn't from a police chief. This wasn't from a command staff anywhere. This is from a line officer who's out there every day enforcing state law that wanted to make sure we cleared this up. So that is the end of my testimony on that. I would be glad to entertain any questions.
Any questions for the sponsor? Senator Schroer, go ahead.
Hey, Representative, on your bill, and I hate how the House and the Senate, they always play, we're going to load it up and this and that. If we can limit this to other strong public safety pieces that didn't get across the finish line on 495 or something else. And what I'm looking at is the line of duty death benefits that's going to expire this year. Would you be open? Would you be okay with that getting onto this?
Totally.
And you don't foresee any issues if that comes back over to the House?
I do not.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, it passed out of the House 9629.
Any other questions for the sponsor? Seeing none, anybody here to testify in favor of the bill?
Good morning, Jay Schroer, Missouri Fraternal Order Police. I am just here to testify in support of the bill, and I will stand for any questions.
Any questions to the witness? Seeing none, anybody else here to testify in favor?
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Matt Thompson here on behalf of St. Louis County to testify in favor of the bill.
Any questions for the witness? Seeing none, thank you very much for your testimony. Anybody else here to testify in favor of the bill?
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Scott Swain, representing Missouri Police Chiefs. Just want to go on record in favor.
Any questions for this witness? Seeing none, thank you. Anybody else here to testify in favor? Anybody to testify in opposition?
I'm John Stambaugh. I am not a lobbyist. I'm just John Q. Public. I have concerns with this bill. In fact, there's part of the front part of the bill that, unless he changed it, that basically had to do with mutual aid. And this was at the last paragraph of this bill. But this was House Bill 1710 from last year, I believe it was, and I voiced opposition to that too. And I got a little bit of pushback from some of the people on crime prevention and public safety, because I said, okay, with situations like this where they can violate the law kind of willy-nilly, whether they do or don't, I said, who's going to police the police? Because you and I both know, gee, if I'm late for little Billy's baseball game and the wife's going to be on my butt, what's going to give them? Well, I can get there in a hurry, and nothing's really going to happen to me. I can say this or that because, as you both know, more times than not, they cover for each other. And their level of credibility, in my opinion, has been waning for a considerable amount of time. But for you to give them that type of carte blanche and put the public in jeopardy because while you're running down the road 100 miles an hour after somebody or whatever it is without your lights and siren on, that nobody knows that you're coming up behind them, and somebody pulls out in front of him, his closing rate is too much and he hits somebody and damages them or kills them, well, gee, I guess it's okay. The law said I could do that. You're putting the general public in jeopardy every time you sit there and allow them to do that. Because if I see lights and siren coming on behind me, I'm going to move over and let them get out of the way. So for y'all to allow them to do that, I think that is bad policy. He's been trying to get this through for quite some time, and obviously it's not getting traction and probably doesn't need to be passed if it's continually year after year presented and doesn't get through.
Questions for the witness? Hearing none. Anybody else here to testify in opposition to the bill? Anybody for informational purposes only? That'll conclude the hearing. Representative, any closing remarks?
I would just say that the things that are in here, as far as not getting passed the past couple of years, I think we all kind of know how things didn't quite move a whole lot the past couple of years. But this is something that I think it would let the folks that are out there know that we care, that they do their job the correct way, and that's what they care about. So thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Next up, we'll go to Representative Baker on House Committee substitutes for House Bills 799, 334, 424, and 1069.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Committee, for hearing House Bill 799 and the other ones that are attached as well. This is a bill that we've already passed out of the House and out of this committee as well on provisions with House Bill 247. It phases out most motor vehicle inspections over time, but still leaves the 150,000 mileage requirement in place. It also includes House Bill 1355, which creates the Space Force license plate. And then House Bill 1018, where it makes to where the VIN and odometer inspections for titling purposes can be performed by a licensed dealer if they're selling the vehicle out of the state, or if the vehicle has less than 50,000 miles or 3 years old. There's also an amendment that was added in the House in perfection that includes House Bill 61 that provides that the application for Missouri Conservation Heritage Foundation emblem license plate and the payment of that contribution can be made at the time of registration to DOR. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for the sponsor? Senator Washington.
Good afternoon, Representative. Thanks
Good
for
afternoon,
being here.
Senator. How are you?
Just going to play devil's advocate just a little bit here. Extending that back 13 years, doesn't that kind of increase odometer fraud potential?
You're talking about which portion of the bill? The vehicle inspection repeal?
Uh-huh.
So currently, it's 10 years or 150,000 miles, I believe.
Right.
So this would leave the year in place, which would be 12 years now, currently.
13, because it says
Is it
go back
13?
to
Yeah.
2012.
And then, so moving forward,
That's why we need Department of Education, so you can
Yeah.
be able to subtract.
So the main thing with vehicles, I grew up going to car auctions and those kind of things from the time I was a little kid, is the mileage. You know, how much has it been driven? It's not really the year of that vehicle doesn't really play a part when it comes to
The common sense says the older the
safety.
vehicle, usually it has more miles, right? That's why we do this in the first place, because we usually have more miles the older the vehicle is. Unless
Right,
you're
but the
my Aunt Betty
mileage,
who only drives
the
like-
mileage piece stays in place. So if it's 150,000 miles or more, then they would still have to get an inspection.
Okay. And why are we exempting some vehicles sold by private sellers and high-volume dealers?
Okay, so this has to do with high-volume car dealers and the ability that they can have, this bill would make it to where they can do their own inspections in-house rather than have to take it outside.
Okay. I live in a city, and there are particular streets in my community where the inspections on some of those used cars are already suspect as it is. So I would, that alone would
So
make
this
me
is
not
only for
support
vehicles
that.
that they're selling out of state.
I live in Kansas City. I live on the state line. So we have a lot of people on both sides of the states that would do that. And I would not want some of those dealers on particular streets to be able to inspect their own. But thank you for bringing the bill.
Any other questions for the sponsor? Hearing none, thank you. Representative, anybody here to testify in favor of the bill? Please make sure you fill out a witness form for our records and proceed when you're ready. Great.
Little green light. Hi, green light. Tony Shepard, a lobbyist for Abate Missouri Motorcycle Group. I got in trouble before. This is Baby Doll. I got to introduce the puppy. I got screamed at. It's all good. I am retired, a journeyman, master auto tech. Worked for a dealership, worked for a private. Last time I got out of there was working for a dealership. We did our own inspections, emissions and inspections at the time. I would really like the idea of the state inspections. I'd like to see them go away. There's a lot of good people out there, but there's also quite a few folks that I still know that use it as a bad apple. I'll just phrase them that way. They get close on something and, oh my God, you've got to do it. It's a selling point, and there's a couple companies that I know that do it out there as far as the state inspection, the private side of it. The emission side of it, you've already got a red light on there. If something's wrong, it tells you right there. As far as your mileage, it's really hard to judge and reset mileage and stuff like that anymore. Your mileage not only comes up on the dash, which is usually electronic. They got rid of the analog on there a long time ago. It's an electronic. That's actually tied back into the body computer, and generally that is not changeable unless you change out the whole thing, and then per feds, you got to redo it. Yes, people do that too. So it's a heck of a lot more difficult to be changing and altering the mileage anymore. You're saying a lot of your older vehicle are high mileage. I'm driving an 06 Buick Lucerne out there. It's only got 70,000 miles on it right now. I've got an HHR sitting at home that is my wife's car. It's got maybe 100,000 miles on it. It's an 04. I've got another 04 pickup truck that has less than that. I think it's only got 50 or 60,000 miles. So a lot of these older vehicles, most of them do have some mileage on them, but a lot of these folks don't drive it, and a lot of them, at least where I'm at, don't have the high mileage. As I said, I retired as a journeyman auto tech. They're building these cars with a lot better quality, at least from most countries, coming over here. I've seen some junk, but it's getting better. And 150,000 miles on a vehicle anymore, you're going to find a few problems here and there. I've got my farm truck back there at the house. I've got 240,000 miles on two of them, And I've replaced basic maintenance. Nothing serious the whole time. I've still got my mufflers on. I did not go loud. I don't like them loud. But the vehicles are getting better. I think he's got a really good push on this. It gets it away from a lot of the bad apples, as we like to call them in here. We can maybe get some good things going on with it, and eventually make the whole thing gone, because we're all going electric anyway, right? So hopefully they'll be safer cars. Not anytime soon, thankfully, but that's all that I think I can remember. I mailed it in, but I noticed even on a lot of these, there's no place to really put your comments. So just a little comment on that. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much for your testimony. Just make sure your dog fills out the witness form as well.
I'm going to put a paw print on there.
Okay, just
No
making
problem.
sure. Any questions for the witness here? All right, seeing none, thank you very much for your testimony. Anyone else in testifying in favor? Just proceed when you're ready.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. James Harris, I'm a registered lobbyist representing Carvana to testify in support of House Bill 799, particularly the beginning on page 4, line 101 through page 8 pertaining to inspections. Our client, or Carvana, brings many of the vehicles that are coming to customers in Missouri are coming from other states. So we currently do a 150-point inspection internally. Then when we come to Missouri to deliver the vehicle, let's say in Columbia, we have to go find someone that has ability to perform the inspection. The waiving of the inspection would only be for newer vehicles that are up to 3 years or have less than 30,000 miles. So if it's a 4-year-old vehicle, 60,000 miles, it'll still be inspected. And the VIN number would just be in allowing us in that same instance to perform it as opposed to getting an inspection for that. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for the witness? Seeing none, thank you very much for your testimony. Anyone else here to testify in favor? Senate Bill 799. Anyone else here? Anyone here for in opposition? Anyone here for informational purposes only? Seeing none, that will conclude our testimony on Senate Bill 799. And moving on, we're going to go to, I believe it's Senate Bill 711. Is that right, Alyssa? All right. Senator, just whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. Just for the record, my name is Senator Joe Nicola of the 11th Senatorial District, which is in Jackson County. This bill, 711, pretty simple bill. What it does is just allows some auxiliary or accessory lights on a motorcycle to not be restricted to just amber or white lights, but to any color. And that's really all this bill does. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions, and I think I have 2 guys and a dog that'll be coming up to testify as well.
Any questions for the bill sponsor? Senator Weber.
If you were to add a color other than red or amber, what would you add?
What would
To
I
your
add?
bike, yeah.
I would probably add blue to mine, yeah.
Nice. All right.
I'm a little favored to blue.
I'm support more blue around here. Yeah.
I just did that for you, Senator.
Further questions? Senator Schroer.
I've got a question for the senator. What color would you add?
Red.
Senator, I kind of like all the colors. It's so hard to pick which one,
Even red?
Well, you can already do red or amber. So maybe like a nice teal.
I was thinking more of like a neon green. That would
Like
stand
an electric
out.
green, I think it probably depend what kind of. I would honestly, I'd probably try to get a kind of light that I could push a button and change
Just
the different
change them,
colors, so
different
I could
colors.
fit sort of the ambiance of the day.
It's a great idea. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
Further questions for the bill sponsor? Seeing none. Thank you, Senator. We'll go ahead and go into a public testimony. Is there anyone here to testify in favor of Senate Bill 711? You know the drill, sir. Just come on up. Begin when you're ready.
Good afternoon again, ladies and gentlemen of the committee and Senator Schroer. This was all started by a member of your family, Mr. Cornejo, and he didn't do it right when I asked him to. So next family event, throttle him for me, please. I said, any color. He's, oh, no, it's all good. All good. There, it's all good. So now we're back. We're strictly changing 2 words. We're adding any color to the existing bill that Mr. Schroer's brother-in-law, I believe, screwed up. The original intent of the bill, motorcycles, my $10 word was conspicuity. We want to be seen. We really want to be seen. What this does, it allows us to put any color light directed toward the engine and drivetrain. It can be red, green, yellow, blue. Generally, they put whatever color their motorcycle is. They can be on or off while we're traveling. State Patrol's been good with that. No blinking, no circus lights, no shadows or anything else like that. Strictly on or off. We've got many, many motorcycles since it passed one time before. I think actually twice in the House and once through the Senate. It was a good bill at the time, just the verbiage. Many motorcyclists out there have it. It's been across many of the states. I can't tell you how many right now, but we believe, and we've had a lot of the safety officers and your patrol officers and everything go, well, we like it, but we want to get it coded. It was all good until we had a gentleman with State Patrol says, well, you know, in code it only says amber and white. It's like, okay, dude, here we go. Let's get it changed. Let's keep them legal. It's all been good so far. We've all been nice and we've played nice. We just like to see if we could do it again, and I'm serious about that. When I see Robert, I'll get him too. Thanks, Robert. And that's all I got. I appreciate it.
Questions for the witness? Seeing none, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else here to testify in favor of Senate Bill 711? Just proceed when you're ready, sir.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and gentlemen and ladies of the committee. My name is Joe Widmer. I'm Freedom Road Riders legislative coordinator. We are in support of this bill. We have a lot of members in Freedom Road Riders that run colors now that haven't been having any trouble as far as I know. But I think this law needs to be changed just to make it right, and we are all in support of it. And I don't think I can add anything more than's already been said. So I appreciate your time.
Questions for the witness? Seeing none, thank you very much for your testimony. Is there anyone else here to testify in favor of Senate Bill 711? Anyone here to testify in opposition? Anyone here to testify for informational purposes only? Well, that'll conclude our hearing on Senate Bill 711, and I'm going to turn this right back over to the chair.
Thank you, Senator Schnelting. Appreciate that. We're gonna. I think that was all the bills we had before us. We're gonna go into executive session. If I have a second, All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. We're in executive session. I move that SB142 be brought for the committee. Do I have a second? Have a second. Those opposed. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is before the committee. The bill was presented by Senator Schroer. It creates the Anti-Red Flag Gun Seizure Act, which provides that any federal order, protection, or other federal judicial or executive order which directs the seizure of a firearm or prohibits the possession of a firearm except for any person who can possess a firearm under state law shall not be enforced in this state. Any discussion? Seeing none, let's call the roll. Or, I'm sorry. I move that we vote Senate Bill 142 do pass. Do I have a second? Second. Having a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, let's call the roll.
Senators Fitzwater.
Aye.
Schmelting. Brown. Gregory. Schroer. Washington. No. Weber.
All right, you voted 4-2. You voted do pass Senate Bill 142. I now move that Senate Bill 162 be brought before the committee. Having a second, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it. The bill is before the committee. This bill is presented by Senator Schnelting and specifies penalties for driving in the left lane while they're not passing and requires MoDOT to put signs saying the minimum fines on roadways. Any discussion on that? This may be my favorite bill in all of the session. Seeing none, I now move that we vote Senate Bill 162 do pass. Having a second, any further discussion? Seeing none, let's call the roll.
Senators Fitzwater.
Aye.
Schnelting. Brown. Gregory. Schroer. Washington. Weber.
6-0. I voted 6-0. You voted do pass Senate Bill 162. I now move that Senate Bill 363 be brought before the committee. Having a second, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is before the committee. This bill is presented by Senator Brown, the lower Brown, and provides that there shall be the little Brown, the younger Brown. He's obviously younger. And provides that there shall be presumption of reasonableness that the defendant believes such force was necessary to defend him or himself or a third person. Any discussion on the bill? Seeing none, I move that we vote Senate Bill 363 do pass. Having a second, any further discussion? Let's call the roll.
Senators Fitzwater.
Aye.
Schnelting. Brown. Gregory. Schroer. Washington. Weber.
By a vote of 4-2, you voted do pass Senate Bill 363. This got a substitute. That's fine. I now move that Senate Bill 715 be brought before the committee. Do I have a second? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. This bill is before the committee. This bill was presented by Senator Gregory and specifies that the creation of a port authority by a county only precludes creation of a port authority by a city within the county if the county port authority was created first. There is a substitute ending in .02C. I was going to have Senator Gregory, who's running behind, he's got some farm issues, explain it, but I will offer it myself. And that the committee substitute differs from the original version in that it makes a different modification to the definition of new job under the Advanced Industrial Manufacturing Zones Act and incorporates the perfected Senate Bill 125 relating to the Waterways and Ports Trust Fund. Any discussion on the substitute? Seeing none, I move that we adopt the substitute. Do I have a second? Having a second, any further discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor of adopting the substitute say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it. We've adopted the substitute. I now move that we vote Senate Committee substitute for Senate Bill 715 do pass. Do I have a second? Having a second, any further discussion? Seeing none, let's call the roll.
Senators Fitzwater.
Aye.
Schnelting. Brown. Gregory. Schroer. Washington. Weber.
6-0. By a vote of 6-0, you voted that Senate Committee substitute do pass. Having no other business before the committee, I'll entertain a second to adjourn. Second from Senator Weber. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. We're adjourned.